You'd never know it, but there's a side of quarrying nobody ever sees. When the sun sets and the crews leave, when the gates lie locked and the site sits silent and still, quarries offer up their secrets to those who know where to look. Welcome to the secret life of quarries. This truck is carrying 25 tons of perfectly processed rock and aggregates, the very stuff used to assemble the asphalt it's travelling over. And every kilometre of highway needs hundreds more truckloads, just like this one. This road alone stretches for thousands of kilometres, and there are millions more just like it. How is all this achieved? That's the secret of hauling. The crusher. Always hungry, never full. A properly fed crusher is the key to high production and low cost per tonne. Because an overfed crusher wastes time, money and fuel, while an underfed crusher eats into production and profits. If all else is well, more rock in equals more money out. So we could be forgiven for thinking that the bigger the truck, the bigger the profit. But life is rarely so simple. On rougher roads, agility and mobility may count for more than brute strength and speed. If we want to know the number and nature of haulers we need, we must start with the road they travel. Sometimes the path extracted stone takes from rock face to rock crusher is smooth, steady, and serene. Sometimes the haul road has a clean, clear surface, sits at the right height and has width enough for even the largest machines to pass one another safely. Dust is dealt with, water planned for, and the road is rapidly cleared of any debris. In such ideal conditions, the heavy-duty build and greater speed, range and carrying capacity of the rigid truck leave their articulated cousin behind, with larger machines becoming increasingly cost-effective with every extra metre travelled. But what happens when conditions aren't ideal? On most surfaces, the rigid truck is king, but on very steep slopes, say over 12%, material can start to shift and speed slow, and the articulated truck rises to the challenge. All-wheel drive and a fully flexible chassis make the articulated truck a master of manoeuvrability, and the obvious choice on rougher or less well-maintained surfaces. And while the articulated truck can cope with poor underfoot conditions far better than its rigid-framed companion, a poorly maintained haul road will drastically increase costs per tonne, no matter which machine we choose, as loose rock and shifting surfaces make every turn of the wheel a struggle. One truck, however, does not a quarry make. The goal, as always, is to move the most stone for the least money, and that requires us to think a little bigger. In hauling, size is everything. Dumping machines must fit dumping areas. Larger loaders with bigger buckets fill faster. Huge trucks haul more and cost less as distances and production needs increase, and more machines mean more production. The opposite is also true. Small distances mean small volumes and small machines. But bigger machines come with a bigger price tag, and every extra hauler requires an extra human with the right skills to be in the right place at the right time. Furthermore, one machine may be better than another on the road or at the face. But do the shortcomings of one justify the costs of the other? Sometimes the best tool for the job is the one we have to hand. After all, it's amazing what we can do with just a little tyre management. Every hauler tyre must do 4 very clever things at once: absorb shocks, support loads, grip the road, and swivel to change direction. In fact, perfect tyres are so important that even the slightest drop in tyre pressure can drastically reduce a hauler's performance. As the pressure drops, heat and rolling resistance rise, and we must burn more and more fuel just to keep moving. Speed falls, journey times climb, and worst of all, the lifespan of the tyre itself plummets. A typical tyre can cost as much as $20,000 or more. Used at 100% volume, it could live for up to 8,000 hours. At 70% pressure, the same tyre might not even make 2,500. And for experienced operators, keeping tyres perfectly inflated is just the beginning. Hauling is a cycle that repeats over and over. Load, haul, dump, return, load, haul, dump, return. A good operator can carve out efficiencies at every stage. When loading, the trick is to maneuver as little as possible, be visible at all times, and stop at precisely the right moment in precisely the right place. While stationary, a good operator keeps the wheel untouched and the gears disengaged. Where loader and hauler are well matched, one should fill the other, evenly and cleanly, in 4 to 6 cycles. With skilled operators, the time between the last stone hitting a full truck and the first landing in an empty one can be less than 40 seconds. On the road, efficiency equals consistency. By keeping to the right power mode and maintaining a constant speed, the operator keeps fuel use low and gear changes to a minimum, avoids spills, and minimizes strain on the transmission and shock absorbers, which must deal with loads measured in the dozens or even hundreds of tons. Speed should match speed limits. Gear changes should match gradients. And the right braking systems used in the right places. Then, once at the crusher, the trick is to keep idling to a minimum. By the very nature of quarrying, some idling is unavoidable. When taking on stone or dropping it off, the hauler must keep its engine turning, and it's recommended to idle engines for at least 5 minutes after switch on and before shutdown. But too much idling burns through fuel, parts, and profits in equal measure. If timings are off or machines are badly matched, trucks can sit idle at the rock face, at the crusher, or, if the haul road is too narrow, even on the road between the two. It's such a small thing, but switching off any engine that's been idling for more than 5 minutes, or installing automatic engine shutdown systems, is by far the simplest way to keep costs down and machines running. Ultimately, hauling operations thrive when their parts mesh. Haulers need to suit haul roads, link up with loaders, and fit the crusher's needs. Because the real secret of hauling is to keep to the beat of the quarry. So here we are. We've ripped stone from the ground, hefted it for miles, and fed it into the waiting jaws of the crusher. Now what? What will happen to it? Where will it go? Well, that's the secret of the yard. And that's a tale for another day.